welcome back to another video of books that I've been reading in the month of November. I read some pretty decent ones, so I'm excited to talk about them. Let's jump right into it. So, after reading the book Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris, I went on a bit of a David Sedaris binge. I think my attention span with planning for Thanksgiving and a bunch of things going on, it was just perfect for me, you know. Humorous essays, kind of quick-paced, clever. That's what I needed this month. So I went on a bit of a binge. I read, but I did it wrong. I read The Best of Me by David Sedaris, and I don't really recommend this book if you are planning on reading a lot of David Sedaris, because it's a compilation of his best essays from all of his books. And I mean, it was cute. I liked it. I liked everything about this compilation, but it was a pain going through and reading more books and having sections just, you know, covered again, listening to it twice or reading it twice. It was a little too much for me. So, I mean, kind of annoying, honestly. But if you don't want to read a lot of David Sedaris books, this is a great compilation. Get a little overview of a lot of his work. So I enjoyed this one. But the next book I read was Calypso, and I really did enjoy this one. He talks a lot about his family and buying a beach house on the Carolina coast, and this was really fun, very personal, and I enjoyed his perspective. Really, this was good. This was very good. I liked it a lot. But, you know, very similar to, like, none of these are super different. These are just, okay, here's a collection of different essays on different topics, and he compiles them into a book, okay? And they're usually humorous. But the last book I read by him is a little bit different. It is called Theft by Finding, Diaries, 1977 through 2002. And so David Sedaris, in this, he has just curated his personal diaries, and he's cut out a bunch. I mean, he said that he has many, many diaries that span that time, and he's picked the diary entries and made a book. So it's not those carefully written essays that you come to expect from a David Sedaris book, but you do get some very interesting things. You get his unique and clever and kind of dry humor coming through. You also get like a very interesting, almost historical record, just seeing his perspective on world events and life going from, you know, 1977 through 2002. There's a lot that's happened in that space of time. I really liked, but I found it very interesting to see the casual racism that he was confronted with in his life, and and just like the drug culture and all these different things. There were so many things that I feel like have changed so much since 1977. And so it was interesting from that perspective, as well as his humorous things. I don't necessarily recommend this book for a casual reader of David Sedaris. Go read Me Talk Pretty One Day. I really liked that one. Highly recommend that one. This, you kind of feel like you get stuck in his head a little bit because it's just his own crazy personal diaries. So all in all, David Sedaris was kind of a fun detour for my reading this month. Some of them were great, some of them not so great. You know, it's just kind of a mixed bag, but I really did enjoy, I enjoyed these a lot. I read The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. And honestly, I have no idea. I always rank these on Goodreads with the 5-star system. And when I go back to film a video, I look at it and I'm like, I gave this one 4 stars. And then I gave that last book only 3, but I liked that one better than... I don't know if I'm very consistent on my rankings, but this book had some interesting things. So this boy grows up in the 1980s in Niagara Falls, and he has this uncle who's very into the like paranormal and ghosts, and his uncle creates this Saturday night ghost club with him and this new kid in town, where his uncle will take them around to different places in their town and show them haunted areas and tell them the creepy story about that. And it's actually ends up being, it's not super creepy. Like, for a book about a ghost club, I don't really feel super haunted, but it is an interesting look at grief and processing difficult situations. And so I really liked that. I thought the uncle's storyline was very well put together and it worked. I understood where it was going. My problem with this book was there is the boy, he has this friend and his sister who have just moved into town, and the sister is just kind of wild and has some sort of mental issues, and the boy is just obsessed with her, and it feels a little manic pixie dream girl-esque, like this girl and her problems are there to help this boy learn and develop and grow, which I'm like, I don't like using people as props. I feel like that whole storyline with her and having issues was either focused on too much or focused on not enough. It was just kind of thrown in there. It either needed to be cut and just focus on the uncle and the ghost club and that storyline, or I feel like it needed to be given more time and do it more justice, talking about like this troubled girl who is having a hard time and is prone to like erratic behavior. And I feel like that whole storyline just felt kind of shoehorned in, and I was not a huge fan of that. Also, I feel like, I mean, this kid, he's what? I don't know, he's supposed, it's the summer he turns 12, and they kind of make it seem like he's in love with this older girl. But I'm like, I mean, I hate reading things about 12-year-olds falling in love. It's weird to me. So I don't know. As a coming of age story, I understand it. The one storyline didn't work for me, but yeah, the uncle storyline, really good. If you want kind of like a look into processing grief, this is a good way to go. I read a very interesting book. It's called Madhouse at the End of the Earth, the Belgica's Journey into the Dark Antarctic Night. And this is talking about a ship, the Belgica, and all the people on it as they go to explore the Arctic, and the boat gets, iced in for the winter, and it is chronicling, it's very well researched, it's chronicling their time being trapped in there, how they tried to get out, what they did, and basically all the weird illnesses, all of them getting scurvy and descending into madness from lack of light and lack of any outside help during this time. So it's super interesting. It was drawn on by from a bunch of detailed journals that different members of the crew kept. So super interesting, super well researched. Like, if you want to know about this, yeah, read this book. It's got a lot of cool adventure type things. If you're like one of those, like, you just wish you were an old-timey explorer conquering the wilderness, like this book is for you. For me, I got a little bored through the middle, and that's just me being critical, because this book was perfect for what it was, but what it was a boat being caught in ice for an entire winter in the South Pole, and it doesn't move. They are stuck in a boat for the majority of the book. So, I just kind of get a little like, are they gonna move? Is anything gonna happen? Oh, this person's going mad slowly. Like, it worked. I feel like I almost want to read a historical fiction version of this. It would be kind of an interesting thriller almost, of like the slow descent into madness, psychological thriller. But this book was very factual and very, very researched, and not that kind of book. So, it just told the facts of what happened and these people who started to show different signs of madness. So, you know, it was really good for what it was. You could not have asked for a better book for what this was, but if you don't want to read, if you're not a adventure, exploration book type person, I don't think it'll be for you. I read the book H is for Hawk by Helen McDonald, and she is like a Cambridge professor, I'm pretty sure, and to deal with the death of her father, she's always loved hawks, and so she attempts to train a goshawk and has it with her all day, and talks about, it also focuses in on the parallel journey of the author T.H. White in his book, The Goshawk, and his encounter with his goshawk. And she talks about the parallels and why people love hawks, and just kind of relates her life to his. Like, that's kind of where the book goes. As for her storyline, not much happens. It is really just, she has a hawk, things are fine. And honestly, I got kind of bored with it. It was not informative enough to be a really cool book about hawks necessarily, but it was very detailed at the same time. So like, it was fine. Where I feel like this book was super successful was in her analysis of T.H. White's life and books, and how the hawk helped him deal with a lot of his issues, and I really liked that analysis. I feel like I would have probably preferred to read a book or even just a good paper on her analysis of T.H. White, and I feel like that's where her professorness really comes out. I was like, I would sit through a lecture of her talking about this. That is super cool. It's just, when I had to hear about her life and her difficulty with the hawk and her grief, I never want to say that somebody's grief isn't important or anything, but I don't know if it added very much to this book. Like, it's not the part that really I connected with very well. I feel like her analysis of T.H. White was much more interesting and relatable. So I liked it, sort of. I was kind of bored and annoyed halfway through, but I really did like learning about T.H. White and kind of analyzing his works. Yeah, if you're really into hawks, maybe I'd recommend this, but I'm not gonna maybe put a blanket recommendation on this book. And those are some of the books that I have read this month. I will probably be back with a final Books of November video. And if you have any book recommendations or thoughts on these books, I would love to hear if you have thought any of the same things or anything different on these books. I love to hear your opinions, and I'll see you all in the next one.